G'day guys, well we're back in the garage doing some more Jeep mods. Now today we're going to be installing a remote start module from MPC. Now they reckon it takes about 15 minutes to install, so let's not waste any more time and get stuck in. So I bought this on Amazon for about 205 bucks delivered to my door. Now I think it's a really worthwhile investment in my opinion. Now I had a previous vehicle that had remote start from factory and I sort of really missed that option, so I found out that I could get one for the Jeep Wrangler and I went ahead and ordered it. Now for the install, you're only going to need a Torque T20 bit and a trim removal tool. Alright, so what we need to do first is remove this plastic shroud around the ignition barrel here. And there's 3 T20 bits, which is one here on either side of the column. And then unscrew them and then we'll remove it. Alright, so once we remove those 3 screws, just grab the this lower trim piece here, give it a bit of a pull, then we can remove that, sit that down to the side there, and then from here, what we need to do then is just grab our plastic bit here, give it a bit of a twist. We might need to get our trim removal tool here, and just sort of pop this out. It is a little bit tricky. Alright, so now we've got the shroud off. What we want to do now is this little module here. We want to undo this this plug here. So just carefully grabbing, there's a pin located at the back, in the actual module itself. Give it a squeeze and a bit of a pull at the same time. That will then come out. And then from here, what we want to do is then grab our loom for our module for our remote start, and then plug that in. And then plug the new loom into the module itself. Nice solid click. And then from there, what we want to do is grab our module and we want to plug in this main harness. Now, before we go ahead and do that, there is a green wire that says here, cut wire for Wrangler only. So what we need to do is we need to cut that wire with a pair of sides cutters, like so. And then what we'll go ahead and do is just put a bit of heat shrink on them, just to make sure that they don't contact anything out. Alright, so what we're going to do now is take our module, and then we've got our wiring harness here. Now, if you take a look at the module here, you can see there's actual 3 LED lights that will light up, and there's also a button here. So what we want to do is we want to take this black plug with the 4 wires, so the red, black, blue and white wire, and we want to push down this button, and we want to hold down that button while we sort of plug this connection in. So we plug that in, and then what we want to do is wait for this to cycle through, and we want it to go to just the blue light. So waiting, and then we can let go. And now once that's on, we then finish off plugging in the rest of these connections. So we plug this big one in, and then we come around to the other side, and then we plug the red one in, like so. And then we get the last one, which is the little white one. And then from there, what we want to do is then take our key, stick it into the ignition, turn it to the on position without starting the car. You can see it flashing, so that's a good sign. We can then turn the ignition off, and then from here we can then hit the lock button. And then now we've successfully programmed it. So now if we if we want to remote start this by hitting the lock button 3 times, so once, twice, 3 times, we should start. There we are. Alright, so now you've got the car successfully running with the remote start. Now if you want to turn it off, simply just hit the lock button 3 more times and then it'll actually turn the car off and keep it locked. So we hit the button once, twice, 3 times, that turns the car off, and then the doors stay locked. All right, so now you've successfully installed the module, the car starts and also stops. What we need to do now is just tidy up the wiring and then put in the steering wheel shroud again. Now, grab a couple of zip ties and maybe even some double-sided tape, just depending on where you're going to sort of locate this, and then put it all back together, and then job done. All right, so I've got the car started, the keys are in my hand. Now, what happens if I go to put the car into drive or reverse or anything? What happens? So here's the keys here. I'll step on the brake and there it goes. So the engine shuts off as soon as you put your foot on the brake. The engine cuts out. So there's no risk of anyone sort of, you know, remote starting your car and then being able to drive off. Probably one of the other things you're wondering about is how long will it run for with the key out of the ignition? Now, the manual says 15 minutes. I've tried it and 15 minutes works spot on. So what that means is that the engine will run on continuously for 15 minutes until you actually either, one, it turns off by itself, or you get in the car, put the key in the ignition, and then turn it to the on position, and then it will just continue to run, or if someone comes in and puts their foot on the brake. Well, there you go. How simple and easy was that? Look, took about 15 minutes in total, so they were spot on with their mods. The actual hardest part about the actual mod was actually removing that plastic steering shroud from underneath the steering. That took a little bit of time just to sort of manipulate it and try not to break it. It is a little bit fragile. So look, these guys just don't stop at remote start kits just for Jeeps. They do a heap of other vehicles, and what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description below where I purchased mine, and then you can then go from there and check out what else they sell. So look guys, if you've got any comments, drop them down below, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and giving us a thumbs up, and until next time, we'll catch you then. Cheers.